Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Issues in Focus with Shibiki Rivals. I know it's a beautiful day here, and I trust that you're having an enjoyable Thursday evening. Today, we are back with our guest, Tanisha Bristol. Tanisha has been an advocate from since she would have used her experiences to basically become an advocate to help young girls and women who are going through traumatic events in their lives as it relates to sexual abuse. And so we are going to continue this discussion you would have seen on the previous video about what she went through. We are going to continue with this discussion. Um, Tanisha, welcome once again.
Thank you for having me again.
You're most
It's a
welcome.
pleasure to be here.
Happy to hear that. All right, and so the last time we stopped at the point whereby your school teacher, your father, refused to give you financial assistance. Your teachers, big up to my alma mater, New Amsterdam Multilateral School. We had teachers who were extremely supportive there. You mentioned two teachers in particular, Miss Phillips and Miss Ben, and so they would have started helping you with finances as it relates to you continuing school after you would have pawned your earrings and you would have pawned your chain just to get finances to go to school. So what after then what really happened?
Okay, well, my grandmother, she started to assist in whatever way she can, low key. And I was able to complete school because I understood the value of education from a very tender age, and I understood that in order for me to make it out to make it in this world, I needed my education because my whole entire plan, I had a plan structured in my mind is that I'm gonna finish school, and as soon as I finish school, I'm gonna leave the home, never to return. Of course, that's exactly what I did. I I took my education. When I finished, I was amazed at my results because I really thought I would have failed because I can recall not being able to focus, not being able to study, cannot recollect anything. You just read something, you're trying to remember what to read. I can't even remember what I read. Having sleepless nights, still having nightmares, still being in this depressed state, and still having to hear certain negative words being and terms and phrases being used at me in the home. So I had to deal with all of that and also attend school and ensure that I was able to complete successful. And I give the Creator all the praises and all the honor and all the glory because I didn't do it alone. Because I was still able to get a distinction. I was able to get 2 1s, 5 2s, and a 5 in maths. And I always wanted to go to do capes. I gave the cape a try, but then that was more challenging for me because I hardly attended school, so I didn't do quite well in cape. I did 2 cape, I think 2 or 3, and I passed 2, and I failed 1, and I decided, well, that's it for me, because I wasn't gonna go again because
Yes,
I understood the challenges and it didn't make sense to go again.
totally
So
understand.
so I was saying, I didn't return for the second year of care because I understood that it made no sense based on the challenges that I had for the first year. So I left the home with the intention of not returning. When I went to, well, I always thought that, I don't know why I had that whole concept in my mind, maybe just the hope of individuals out there being different. I also, when I leave and I go out, I'm going to reach better individuals and things are going to work out smoothly and I wouldn't have any issues and this kind of stuff. But that wasn't the case. When I went out there, I had to deal with more traumas and more challenges. I had to overcome the all the what I should say, all the demons, as persons would say, are the negative things that would come into my life trying to distract me from and try to lead me in the wrong direction, because I met, females like myself, young females, not sure why they left their home, but then they were in prostitution and they were doing certain things that I deem not acceptable. And they were always constantly telling me, "Oh, I'm always stuck up, and I think I'm this and I think I'm that, and why I don't join them and so on." But I knew myself and I understood myself, and I'm thankful to the Creator that I wasn't, as much as I was in a self-destructive state, I wasn't in a state whereby I was exploring in terms of
Yes.
sexually, because I would have been a prostitute. Because there was
Mhm.
avenues opening up for me to join that line, and persons were inviting me to go in the bush and all this kind of stuff, but I refused. And I can recall I used to live with one of my father's women, and he told her to put me out. And why he told her to put me out is, we were prior to living with her, I was living with my aunt on my mother's side, but then I wasn't really comfortable because I wasn't to them, and there were certain, no, actually, I'm thinking I was living with her first, and she put me out. Yes, I was living with her. She had assisted me with going to Computer World, wishing he had told her he would pay her back, but I told her he wasn't going to, but I would when I started working, because I knew he wasn't going to. And I was going through a lot of depression and this kind of stuff. Sometimes what I used to do is that I used to, after classes, I would walk and go to the seawall, and I would just sit there and think and cry and meditate and whatever I had to do. Then I would walk back to town and catch a vehicle and then go home at her. I can remember a time I was there and I stayed late, and she told him, and I told her where I was, and he had an issue, and he's like, something he told her, and I can't remember what exactly. I didn't think she gave me direct details, but then he told her all sorts of nasty things about me, and told her to be careful with me because she don't know what she's dealing with, and all this kind of stuff. And I told her, you know me, I know you, we have a relationship. Why would you believe what he's saying? But at that time she did not know what he did to me, and he told her to put me out. And upon me moving, I said, fine, if you're gonna allow a man that is married, that abuses you, that I warned you about abusing, because I always warn them up front, if I have any contact with anyone that is women, I always tell them that he's abusive in terms
Okay.
of physically to women. Yeah, and I told you all thing, and he doesn't take care of you. He doesn't do nothing for you. He curses you out because of his wife and all this kind of stuff. And then you take on all your expense. He does nothing for you, and then you're gonna allow him to dictate your home. I said that makes absolutely no sense. And then I'm a young woman, and you're a woman. I thought better of you,
Yes.
but I said it's fine, just to let you know is that he's a rapist, and I explained to her what he did to me, and I said that is why he told you to put me out. And I said I will leave and whatever. She still said that I have to go because he said to let me go. And at that time I didn't
So,
had
so would you
anywhere in
before you continue,
particular to go.
before you continue,
Hmm.
it seemed as if when you with your dialogue with her, it seemed as if she believed what you actually said to her.
Yes, it did seem so, because what she did, she went and tell one of his brothers, and they approached him, and he did not deny, he did not confirm based on he didn't deny it, he didn't confirm. This is what I was made to understand. It's like
Okay.
they agreed that he did. And what she said is that she was abused by her stepfather, and she had told him, but she didn't know. But when she told him, he did not show her any remorse. So she's like, I now
Oh,
understand why he didn't show me any remorse because I was abused also. I related it to him and he didn't show me anything. And then I remember sometimes she had a birthday when she was still at her mom and her stepfather's home. And she
Mm-hmm.
invited me to the birthday and she asked him if I could go and he told her no. So she said she thought that he was afraid of me being abused by the stepfather made he say no, not knowing that he was also an abuser. But I have no idea why she still went ahead and said that I have to leave. But I left and I eventually got in contact with my mom's sister and she allowed because what happened also I didn't tell you previously is that at like when I was in Form 4, I got in contact with my mother and her family.
Okay.
The aunt she had yeah, so by that time I had already known them, but I didn't have a relationship with them.
Understand.
You know, this close relationship. So um she allowed me to stay there, but there were certain issues, certain dynamics within the home that I really could not have taken because I was with my own personal issues, and it felt I just didn't feel it doesn't feel right, and I felt like I ran from something like that, despite it wasn't in terms of sexual abuse or whatever, but it was still in terms of certain ill treatments. And I left and I went by a lady that I grew up with when I was small because he was with the woman's daughter. So I got in contact with her and her granddaughter, and I asked them if I could stay there. The woman said I can stay there, and so when I was there, I had a job, and this kind of stuff. And then I don't know how this, I don't know what transpired exactly. I can't remember in detail, but then so every individual that comes there to stay, she always tried to do stuff to cause problems, to cause the individual to move. So she was kind of creating problems with me, going through my private stuff and this kind of stuff. And the woman told me not to bother with her to stay, but then I was feeling uncomfortable, but I still stayed, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how she got in and send me back to Borbies and they gonna deal with me in Borbies. Because he also told his girl that he was with, he told her that same thing to put me out and let I go back to Borbies and they gonna deal with me in Borbies. So I was like, you know, for instance, if I'm with his girl, when I heard that, I was like, deal with me. With these people trying to kill me and report me
Yeah.
missing. So I didn't go because I was fearful because deal with me exactly means I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand the whole concept deal with me. So I didn't go and he told the girl and then she used it against me. She's like, oh, if I said this and that and he said to put you out, oh you bad and you own way and you spoiled and this and I said I'm not bad, I'm not own way, I'm not spoiled, I'm here with you. You see my personality. Why would you say something like that? And I'm being around
Yeah.
you for a while. And she kept at it and then I told her, I said, I tried to keep the peace. I'm trying to move on and leave these things in the past, but apparently, he wants me to speak on it. So I indicated to her why he's doing these things, and I told her he did it before, and I indicated to her, and she was like, "Oh, I'm lying. He's a good man. He's give people stuff, and he's this and he's that, and why you would do that? He take care of you. He give you all your needs. Why would you be so wicked?" And all these negative things she spoke about me,
Mm-hmm.
and at one point she was cursing me out and she brought her sister to curse me out and me. And at that time, my mother came in the country, so my mother came to my defense and she told me well to come and go to French kind with her. So I
Yeah.
left like the next day with her and went to French piano. But then we didn't really had much of a relationship there either because we had different personalities and she always told me I'm different from her children, and then there were certain things that I was exposed to and so on that I didn't feel comfortable about. And so I asked her for the next trip home, regardless of who it was, I wanted to come back home, which is what I
Yeah.
did. And when I came back home, I think the lady that owned the house was in the country and she was there and so on. But I thought I don't feel comfortable based on how our granddaughter treated me. So because she was telling me I can stay, and I thought I don't feel comfortable based on how our granddaughter treated me, so I'm going to find somewhere else to go. So I ended up by a friend. It was a guy. He linked me to his cousin. He was sexually um, physically harassing me because he wanted a relationship with me. He was talking about marriage and all kind of stuff. But I told him I'm not interested in that because I have a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with and I'm trying to, make myself somebody and so on. So I'm not interested in that, but we can be friends. And I guess maybe because I refused him, he started to harass me and try to pull on my clothes and try to expose me and do all kind of stuff. And so I left there, and another friend introduced me to my older son's father, and that's how I met my older son's father. And I was in that home, and he was taking care of me nice and so on. And he had asked me for a relationship. I didn't want a relationship, but he was consistent, and at that point I felt like, well, this is it for me. I don't have nobody else
Yeah,
to
just
turn
decided
to.
to.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable going home. So I agreed to the relationship. He wasn't bad to me, but then there were certain I didn't like his past and I didn't like the job that he was doing. So I was there just praying and hoping for a way out to the relationship or praying and hoping for death. Because I understood that from going to the church that if you kill yourself based on what they teach you in church, that you will ultimately go to hell. And that is it for you. There's no second life, there's no second coming, and so I didn't directly want that because I was clinging on this hope that, when that on the second coming that I'll get to see my aunt and she'll get to tell me what she wants to tell me and we'll get to reunite, we'll be happy again. So I was clinging on that. So despite I wanted to die, I had it all planned out and all structured. I didn't go through with any of the
Mm-hmm.
plans that I had because I was like, well, God, if you take me, or if you don't want to take me, then I told him, well, please get me out of this relationship and please provide someone that would love me and that I can love and someone that would
Yeah.
accept me and I can grow and I can deal with and I can be able to be happy and have a different life. But when I was praying for that, I wasn't praying for a child. I was looking at an adult, whether it be a male or a female or whoever. For
Yeah.
me, a total stranger just come into my life, see me, get to know me, get to understand who I am and appreciate me and love me and accept me and not use my past against me and so
Mm-hmm.
on. But while praying and so on and asking the Creator to make two choices, either take my life or He do this for me, um, I left the home. I eventually moved out from there, and upon moving out, like a month or two into it, I found that I was pregnant. But when I told him, he said, keep the child. He was very okay. He was nice at first, took care of the pregnancy and everything. But then when he realized that I didn't want a relationship, he stopped. So I was left
So
with
so
this
you and again,
pregnancy. Yeah.
and so you were all
So I was,
what was your age at this time? About around 19 or so.
yeah, 19. Yeah,
Okay.
so I was left with this pregnancy by myself because I could not have gone back to Burbs because they had already wished me deaths and they already called all these sorts. So I didn't feel comfortable going back there because I didn't know what. I still had this thought in my mind that they had so they gonna deal with me, and I didn't know what was this dealing that they plan on dealing with
Mhm.
me. So I eventually got a friend, and the friend took care of me and took care of my pregnancy. And my aunt, well, my grandmother, my mother's mother, I didn't directly had a relationship with her, but then she bought stuff for my son during my pregnancy and so on. It was a challenging pregnancy. I was still dealing with depression. I was still dealing with self sabotage and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, I was even more angry because I was like, I didn't pray for this. I was thinking to myself, I didn't have no mother. I don't know how to be a mother. I don't know how to take care of a child.
Mhm.
Nobody created put me through. I'm going to punish, and then I go punish this child. So I was
And so the other thing
contemplating.
is, so the other thing is how, what about finances? Because he stopped taking care of you. You all over the place right now, not settled. How did you have finances and everything to take care of that?
The guy, the guy that came in and started taking care of me, he provided finance for me. He ensured that I ate. He ensured to clinic, and he did all these things. May his soul rest in peace. Yeah, he was really nice to me, and my family always in my business. But I wasn't there, they were in my business, and I could because somebody had. I don't know. I think one of my uncles he came, but he's an uncle that I didn't know. We had recently known them. They had recently known that he's his brother. They're he and them are brothers because they had the
Mhm.
same father, but their father died very young. So I think he brought him where I was because he said he wanted to see me. And I was like, I don't know why you want to see me, but I still went to see why you wanted to see me. And I was already pregnant. And he's like, oh, you're pregnant? I won't lie. I said, no, I'm not. And he's like, yes, you're pregnant. I said, yes, so what? And he was like, I don't remember what he directly said. We speak to his wife or something like that, but I didn't pay no attention. And then he did contribute, which I thought was weird, but I didn't understand why he contributed. But I still
Mhm.
accepted and I prayed over it and prayed that it not nothing no bad motive.
Yeah.
So I had a little contribution from him, then I had from the guy and I had from my grandmother. And as time progressed, our relationship got disconnected again because of the same issue and the way they treated me and me not being able to deal with all of that. And my turning point was for me was when my son was born. But prior to him being born, another thing that I didn't mention that I wanted to do the abortion, but I didn't because I was afraid of dying, just like my mom, because I had a
Yeah.
church sister. She was constantly telling all the women that died that did abortion, trying to stop me from not doing that. So I kept him, and then on when the day when he was supposed to born, the morning they induced labor. They didn't do the drips as they call it. They did the other method of induction, and it was okay at first. Then the doctor checked me, and she kind of raised up the whole pain and so on. But she said that it's not labor. She called it another term, the term that they would call it, and she sent me home and I was enduring a lot of problems home, so I went back. And when I went back, they told me that my son's heart it was so low that it was at the point that he could have died. So I was like, why would you put me through all this? I keep the child, now you're gonna take the child. Like I was like, what? I was like God
Mhm.
don't know what He wants. Anyway, it so
Yeah.
happened that they gave me oxygen and they told me I had to stay on my left side all the time, and they
Mhm.
kept monitoring his heartbeat. It eventually increased after prayers and me obeying what they said. It wasn't easy because after that they still gave the other method of induction, and I had to be there just to save this child's life. And when they eventually delivered him and they brought him to me, I can recall, just looking at this before they took him to the nursery. I can recall looking at this little baby, and I was like, that was the turning point because I was like, you know what? This is not about me anymore. I cannot keep
Yes.
running. And then the thing about it is that I was running and I was running into from one issue to another, and I was adding to my trauma, adding to
Yes.
my pain. And I understood at that point that I needed to stop. I needed to slow down. I needed to get myself in order. I need to find myself, to find a place where I can be able to heal, not just for me, but for this child.
So we're gonna go on a short break. We'll be right back. All right, so welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I know we're here with Tanisha Bristol. Um, you would have heard about her life, what she has been through, her sexual traumas, her sexual abuse. Now she's pregnant. Thankfully, she got a safe delivery, and her life has turned around after basically looking at her child for the very first time. So tell us about that turning point.
Yeah, it was a bittersweet emotional point for me because I can recall looking at him and just crying and saying, my prayers were different now. I wasn't praying to die. I was basically begging the creator, like, please don't answer that prayer, please don't answer that prayer. No, I'm so sorry. Like, give me another chance and, give me a chance to heal. And my prayer was now about healing
Yes.
so that I can be able to raise my son and protect him from what I went through. Of course, it was a bittersweet journey because I was at the point whereby I had to I eventually end up in another relationship. When you're going through those stuff and you're traumatized, you attract the wrong partner. So I was in another relationship. I got pregnant again. That pregnancy was worse than the first because I basically was alone with nothing to eat, nothing to drink for days, weeks. I was in a house all by myself, and I don't know how I survived. I don't know how that child survived. More than just say is God, because
God,
I wasn't attending clinic. I wasn't I wasn't on vitamins. I wasn't on minerals. I wasn't on nothing. And most of the times I was just using water, and just my older son was eating because I was ashamed. I was ashamed to know that I've been through so much. I'm trying to get myself up, and then I end up going in another relationship, and then I felt abandoned during the pregnancy. So I was ashamed, and I kind of like shut myself in, and I was like in this shutdown state, not reaching out to people, not having anyone there for me, and I can recall, there was days that turned into weeks whereby I didn't know what it's like to have a solid food. I was literally weak and shaking. I couldn't take care of myself. When I get up, sometimes I'm falling down. I couldn't walk and all this kind of stuff. And the creator know how he works because he sent a friend to check on me. And when the friend came and checked on me, she started to assist me in some ways possible. And That kind of helped me to catch myself to an extent. But then she also left the country. So
Mhm.
it was me alone. But prior to her leaving the country, she took me to his family, and his family started to support me. But that was already like in the third trimester. So the first two trimesters, it was just me and my son, and we eating whenever we have thing, if ever we have thing. Well, he must use it. I literally used to leave myself hungry and ensure that he
Yeah.
ate.
That's mother's
So
love
that was
already.
so that was and everybody was scared to me when I went into labor because I could recall when I delivered my baby, I delivered him and I did not eat in 2 days. And I was weak. I went to the hospital, I was weak and I was shaking. I could recall like the doctors and the nurses asking, why are you shaking? I said, I'm weak and I'm hungry and the place is cold because the AC was really high. And
Mhm.
I asked them for some water, and because they didn't have a cup, they refused to give me water. So I delivered my son hungry, thirsty, and weak. I can recall saying that I couldn't even push because they're like push and you're not pushing. I'm like, I don't have strength to push. I
Exactly.
was like, I don't have strength to push. How can I push? I don't have strength to push. That's why I told them, they're like, you got to push, you pushing. I was like, I'm doing the best I can. At that point, I had literally like given up because I was like, I don't have the strength to push anymore. But what can I say? God is great, and
God
He's
is great. Yeah.
He's my rock and my strength and my sustainer and my provider because I don't know how this baby came out. All I know is that he was out. Ask me how. I don't know because I didn't put any extra strength because I didn't have any extra strength. I did the same thing that I was doing. I didn't do
Mhm.
anything different more than I continued to say a prayer and I asked to pray to well, if this is it, at least my older son that he can protect him, that he would have to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
However possible, he can do it. But he wasn't done with me yet.
Mhm.
That wasn't my time. So we both had a successful delivery, and then the amazing things that the child born without any problems, no complications at all. The child born with he had more weight than his older brother. He was bigger than his older brother, and his APGAR score was 10, 10, 9. So he only had like once he was high in reflexes at birth, he was already moving. He was moving since he born. You can't leave him on a bed because if you leave him on the bed and you turn on the bed high, the police gonna come for you. So he literally had to be on the ground all the time because he kept moving.
Yeah.
So
God
that was
sustain
a
grace
miracle.
Tanisha. Yes,
Yeah, that was
definitely.
a miracle. He's not born. He's very active. Very intelligent because persons were studying. Oh, he's gonna have this complication. He's gonna have that complication because of the
God.
fact that I was thin and I didn't have the nutrients that I need to give him. But that wasn't the case. And
When God ready to preserve, my
but
dear, it matter.
yeah.
God work.
Yeah, prior to that, I had registered for the University of Ghana. I can remember the first time I registered. Everybody knew that I wanted to do law, but they didn't understand the whole idea why I wanted to do law. I
Why?
wanted to do law because
Mhm.
I always said when I did law, the first person I'm putting behind bars is my father, and then after him, all the abusers. But nobody knew. Everybody just knew I'm passionate about law. But I didn't register for law first, and the reason being because I knew that I needed healing, and I understood that social work was an avenue to provide the healing because I wanted to do psychology, but the University of Ghana did not provide psychology at that time. So
Mhm.
I registered for social work among two other programs. I got accepted. I can remember social work took the longest to accept me, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to do social work. But on the final point, I was like, oh, I'm going to do another program. Then social work accepted me, and I went into social work with the idea that I'm going to heal myself. And when I'm healed, I want to heal as many women and girls as I can. I can remember the first year I had to pull out because person spoke to my father and he's like, oh, he's going to help me, but he didn't. And I didn't have the money and I didn't have no way of getting the money. So I pulled out. And I can remember the next year, I reapplied, but I didn't have the money, but I still reapplied. And I reapplied with the hope that something would happen. I can remember I was working and I bought a phone and I downloaded the BBM and I was chatting with I was chatting with a lot of Africans, South Africans, Nigeria, and so on. There was this particular Nigerian guy, we shared a lot about each other and we shared a lot about our goals and so, but he was older than me, married, done established, and so on. He was still is working with ExxonMobil and this kind of stuff. So I can recall telling him and he was like, well, apply, I'm gonna take care of that for you. And I had already applied, but I didn't tell him anything. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply. And then I went back to him and said I already applied. What he's gonna say, because at that time Nigerians had this bad stigma attached to them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you the honest truth, that man sent all my money back up, everything, without even asking me for a receipt, without proof that I'm attending the University of Ghana, without anything. I was the one who used to brought up that topic. He never brought it up unless I brought up. The only thing he always asked me for, what is the fee? What is the fee? I can remember at one time he was busy and he could not have sent money. He gave a friend to send the money for me. The friend sent the money. There was another time when this money laundering law came in and he could not have sent it and he had to get a bank account. And at that time, my bank account got shut down because I wasn't using it a lot. So
Yeah.
I told him my bank account shut down, and not for me to get it, I have to get proof of income and I have to get this and that, and it's so stressful. And then the timings to get all of that. And he's like, okay, you have anybody else's bank account you can use? And at that time I was working at Demar Mutual, and I reached out to a lady that worked in there. She was skeptical because she had this stigma attached to Nigerians, but then she had a son-in-law that worked with the bank, and he told her nothing's gonna happen. The guy can't tamper with your account, so he sent it. And the direct timing that he gave this money would come, that's the direct timing that it came. The exact timing probably came like 2 days after or something. And she was amazed. Unto this day, she's still amazed when we have conversation about it, because she can't believe like he actually did that. But then I ended up losing my phone. I lost contact with him. I had challenges to finish, but then my lecturers, they really rallied around me because they understood that I was an intelligent woman, and they understood that I was doing well. I was getting majority of my grades were A's and B's, and I probably graduated with 3 C's the most. And they find a way to get my thing. I had an anonymous donor at one point. I had the student society at another point. I had I think the student society, the two, I can't even remember. The money came. Sometimes it came the day before the exam. The one came like 2 or 3 hours before the exam, the first final exam. It came and I was able to graduate from the University of Ghana with a distinction, but during the time I was also working on myself. I was working on my healing from my childhood abuse, healing from the loss of my aunt, healing from the loss of my sister, because I felt like it was a loss to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because our relationship was broken. We are not as close as we were. So I felt like it was a loss to me. So I was working on my healing, but I didn't experience the healing that I expected because, of course, they deal with theory and all these kind of things, and I had to get within. And my turnaround to getting within and to experience the full healing was during the COVID season. The first in 2020, because this is 22, in June, I was diagnosed with fibroids and cysts, and that was a drastic diagnosis to me because it was challenging for me having to deal with all the complications that came with that. I was able to heal myself, but then I had to
Amen.
make a lot of drastic changes to my life, to my what I placed on my skin, everything. I just did a complete change of every aspect of my life. And but I was still on and off in terms of the LT heating. So it came back and it came back worse the next year. That was in August. And I can remember I was in so much pain that I could not have done anything for myself. It was pain non-stop, morning, noon, and night for weeks. The only thing that helped was when I went to the hospital and they gave me dopamine, but then I didn't go steady because it would have looked bad. I thought if I went frequently to this dopamine, and then the dopamine didn't help much. The most it helped first was 4 hours. So in 4 hours I couldn't do much anyways. So I stopped going for it. My sons literally nursed me back to health because the younger one, because he was younger, I let him help me in terms of bathing. And the older one, he would make tea for me because it's only tea I really was using. Like when I used too much of sulfur, I used to bring up. And I did a lot of prayers and I did a lot of soul searching and I healed. No, how I healed myself is not the way that persons know of healing myself. I got within. I healed myself from within with the help of the Creator, most obviously. I
Yes.
healed myself. I had to heal from my past childhood trauma because where I was having these chronic pains, it's in my womb. And my womb is a part of my sexual organs.
Yes.
And my sexual organs are the organs that experience these traumas. So there was traumas trapped inside of my womb and inside of my body. So I had to get within through a lot of meditation. I did a lot of breath work. I did yoga to get within and heal myself. I had to heal my inner child. I had
Mm-hmm.
to learn to love myself, love my womb, love my reproductive organs and not hate it and scorn it because of what it had endured. I had to let go and I had to release a lot. It was deep. This is just a surface value that I'm saying. It was deep, but I had to get that deep. And in getting that deep, I also got healing, and then I got to understand. I always wanted to know, like, who am I? What's my purpose? What's my role? All of that I dig into during that period of time. And, persons would be like at all, but my pain and my fibroid, because I literally was feeling it on my right side, it went away in a month's time from me
Wow.
doing these work with myself.
Mm-hmm.
It went away in a month's time because I was even amazed because when it went away, I did not even realize it went away. I just realized that whoa, I'm not experiencing this thing because first it started coming and going, and then it
Mm-hmm.
eventually went. I didn't even know when it didn't come back, and then when I calculated the time, I'm like, this is like around a month and change. It didn't even reach 2 months. So I was like, whoa, and then I said, you know what? And then I had a dear friend and sister that was rallying around me. Her name is Miss Atalia Israel. Her and her husband, they were like my prayer warriors. They prayed for me. They were there and checking on me and all this stuff. And you know, we came up that, well, this is the working of the Creator. And she asked me,
Yeah.
so what are you gonna do about it? And I was like, at first, like, what do you mean? What I'm gonna do about this? He's like, what you gonna do about it? The Creator give you another chance, because I was in so much pain that I felt my life being sucked out to me. I remember I was telling a woman that, and she's like, I understand, because I don't know if anybody ever experienced that to understand it. But I was in
Yeah.
pain that I felt my life being sucked out of me. And so when she asked me the question, what are you going to do about it? And what is your mission in life? I told her that my mission is to serve and glorify the Creator, to live for Him. And my mission is to start spreading my story, to start speaking up about my story and not to be ashamed of my story anymore. And it's to use my story to transform lives. And that was the whole concept of me then started getting down to the goals planning and this and everything, everything in terms of business wise, to get my business started, because I said that as much as I wish if I can do it free, I have a family. I have two boys that is looking after me. So, I don't think the Creator would see it as an issue if I don't do it for free. Of course, I prayed about it and so on, but then I have a family. So because I wanted to go down the NGO path, but then I decided that this is the path I'm going to choose, because this is whereby I can be able to share my story, and I can be able to still be able to feed my family and take care of my
I love it.
family.
I love it. I love it. And so, Tanisha, I mean, whew, I am just proud of who you are, who you would have become from that little shy girl from secondary school who just used to be there saying hi, coming around, having your conversations. I remembered your moments of being vocal with attitude, you know. I remember a lot from our secondary school interaction, all right? And but I'm really, really proud of you. I'm proud of your business that you would have started, and I know for sure it will be able to touch the hearts and lives of individuals. Um, we are on closing time, but I want you to just give the audience, um, tell them how can they reach you. I guess that's one of the most important information. How can they get in contact with you if there are other young girls, women who are going through these traumas and they want to get help, they want to get counseling, or they want to have some form of coaching, mentoring, all of those things that you're involved in. How can they reach you?
Okay, well, I have a business page on Facebook. It's Transcendence Transformations. You can reach me on there. You can also reach me on my Facebook page, Tanisha Bristol, and you can book when you communicate with me. You can let me know what it is, what services you need, because what I currently have the one-on-one services, 12 weeks, whereby I work with you one-on-one, and I help you through the holistic approach that I have used to heal myself, not just from my childhood trauma, but I was able to heal myself from the loss of an aunt, the loss of, well, my sister isn't, she's still alive, but the loss of the years that I was angry and bitter about, I use this approach to heal myself from everything that I've been through. And I also use the approach on my son, because I understood that I was hurt, and hurt people, and I understood that I inflicted some amount of hurt on my son. So I'm currently using that same approach with my older son. He's 10 years old, because he's the one that was affected the most. The younger one, he was born in a state whereby I was more wiser, I was more awakened, and I did things in a different way in terms of my youngest son. So that's the approach that I'm using where I'm focusing on each component of an individual because of course we're individuals, our mind, our bodies, our souls, our emotions, each of those components I'm touching on in my one-on-one. I also have a group program that I'm gonna launch next month and it's gonna start the following month. That's a 3 months program. It's a small group program whereby individuals we're going to reach once a week within the group setting because group setting is very good for healing. I wish if I had that setting when I was
Yeah.
healing. I
Mhm.
didn't. I had to do it on my own, but now you would not have to go through that on your own. That's why it took me so long to heal because I literally was walking that journey by myself with a lot of trials and try with errors and so forth. So yeah, that and also I have a private Facebook community. It's free and I give a lot of I have wisdom Wednesdays whereby I would go live and I would speak on a specific topic in terms of healing and I would give some tips and then during the week, the other days of the week, except for Saturdays, we will have interactive activities and it's an environment whereby you can come, you can feel safe to disclose whatever issues you're going through and you can get the support that you need. The name is Holistic Healing from Childhood Trauma Abuse Sisterhood, from Childhood Trauma Abuse Sisterhood. And also, yeah, you can reach out to me on those platforms. As the
Mhm.
business grow, I'm gonna go on other platforms, but for now, I'm focusing on those platforms because it's me alone,
Yeah.
basically, and yeah,
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing
yeah. So
that
you can reach
information.
out and DM me, and we can. The discovery call is free. The first
Yeah.
session or the first call that you will have with me, whereby we're gonna map out where you are and where you need to be and ensure that you're a good fit. Because what I've understood that some persons, they have this belief that they cannot heal and they're not ready to healing. And it makes no sense that I work with individuals like that because I'm going to be wasting your time, my time, and then I'll be taking your money and I will not be able to help you because you have to take that first step to heal.
I love
I
that.
was there whereby I gave up on healing, but I said to myself there has to be some way to heal. I'm not gonna die this broken. I did not come to die like this. I have to
I
find a
love
way
it.
out. And that's what
I
I
love
did.
it.
And you can do it. You too. You can do it too. There's no woman or no man that can't.
All right. So just answer me. We have 2 minutes before we close. So would you say you have forgiven your father? That's the first question, briefly. And secondly, he is still out there.
Yes, he's still alive. He's still living in Barbados. I don't know if he's still doing it because I don't really have a close relationship with him. I
Hmm.
just hi and bye and so forth.
Okay.
Have I forgiven him? To an extent, to an extent, because it's a lot of damages, but I did not focus on him. I focused on myself when I was doing my
Okay.
healing.
Hmm.
So, to an extent, because it was a lot, because he stole my childhood from me. He stole basically the first. My life is now I'm taking back control of my life. Is now I'm reclaiming myself. So 28 years of my life he stole from me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for sharing, Tanisha. It was a pleasure having you on the program. And I pray and hope that members of the audience that you were truly blessed. and that you would encourage to share this broadcast, whether you've been on YouTube or Facebook, and so that other lives can be touched. Feel free to connect to Miss Bristol, and so that you can get your help. And so we're gonna pray to close us until we meet again. Father God, we are thankful once again for Tanisha. May you continue to bless her, continue to keep her, be with her business, Lord, as she would have started. May you send persons, and may she be able to, through your power, empower others, and so that they can be healed too. And continue to provide for her and her families. Financially, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Blessings and have a wonderful one. Take care, Miss Bristol.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have been a wonderful audience. Don't forget to like the page and follow on Facebook at Issues in Focus with Shibiki Bibles. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, Issues in Focus with Shibiki Bibles. Follow me also now on Instagram with username Shibiki. Join us next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. God's blessings. See you then.